So, good morning, my friends. I have my coffee and I'm going to get into a little bit of some stuff this morning. And it's a little bit dark because it's raining outside. But if I was to turn the lights on in here, it would be too bright and there'd be a lot of glare. So, we're not going to go there. Now, today, the stock market started out about 200 points up and it's been slowly kind of going down. And I figured that about by now, our time, which is 9:30 a.m., now when people are going to go out and about and do what they got to do, they're going to go see what things are. Now I have to go out and do something within an hour, so I'm going to have to, and we'll see what the prices are. I might come back with a little report, who knows? But anyway, that's where we're going to go. Now I'm going to try to keep this in a very low-key manner and put this out there. And I'm going to tell you this, and if you want to debate me, that's totally fine, as long as it's okay, cool on the go. But what did I think last night of this whole speech to Congress, speech to the nation? There were no pros to me. There were a lot of cons. And how am I going to say this the right way? Now, okay. So first and foremost, this whole thing now don't get me wrong. I do have one thing that I did side with. And remember, I'm not on the left and I'm not on the right. I'm a guy that's in the middle. I have voted for against my party, even though I'm registered as something else. Okay? So, and if you want to know, I'll just say it like this. My favorite president was Ronald Reagan, and I don't think there's ever going to be a guy who's going to touch his shoes, tie him for him, or anything. And you can say whatever it is about now, and that'll be a major disagreement with me, because a lot of these things like drain the swamp and this and that and whatever it is, Ronald Reagan coined. It wasn't the current person. So last night I watched this. I made myself watch it. It was boring as hell. I disagreed with a couple of things. I mean, I know that some people are kind of fed up and they want to stand up and speak their mind. However, at an event like this, all they're going to do is boot you out, and that's exactly what happened. Twice. Two people had resist shirts on. The other one was an old guy. Al Green, but not, I'm so in love with you. Not that Al Green. But anyway, the only thing that I found that was classless was that when they took a little boy who was hired, had cancer and all that, and they made him this honorary FBI guy, the non-standing for the child kind of irritated me. The kid's not a Democrat. The kid's not a Republican. He's not a centrist. He's a child. Now, whether or not they wanted to do that as, look how good we are, who knows? But still, the respect for the child should have been there. And it wasn't. And that, to me, I didn't like. And they sat there looking all sour. And that was kind of like, you know what? Term limits, age limits, and more and more and more. And no, on the other end, not saying, oh, I'm going to run for 3 terms, even though you can't. You know what I mean? So then, I had a little trouble with this. So all we're going to do is talk about renaming a mountain, renaming a gulf, trying to take back a place that we don't own, trying to take a country that we don't own, and everybody's sitting there yelling, yay. Do you guys understand that going into Greenland and just say, well, you know what? We're going to make this ours. Well, no. That's kind of the same as Russia attacking Ukraine, but now we're supposedly siding with that country, and yet the only time we ever were allies at all was during World War II, when the Germans and the Japanese were doing their thing and looking like they were going to take over. Okay? And then Dipstick did the wrong thing and tried to go through parts of Russia in the winter, and it took them out and they didn't make it. Okay, but that was the only time. Who was old enough to remember when Nikita Khrushchev sat at that table, chunked a shoe, and then said to us at the end of it, it doesn't matter how long it takes. One day you will lower your guard and we will bury you. Now, granted, their ground military is not very good. Excuse me. But they do have other means that puts them there as a major force. But for all the people that think Ukraine started this war, they didn't. That was them. They came back and decided they wanted to take parts of this country that used to be theirs. So you see what I'm saying? You can't just go into some country and take it. You can't do that. And then rename it Red, White, and Blue Land. I mean, you can't. But I did learn this on the dreaded FB. I got a friend who was in the military with me. And most of my military friends are all one side. When I do this, it's right or left. But I'm this. I'm center. They all are, and I'm going to give you the scenario, which is kind of dumb, but it makes sense. So, sorry. Everybody was tired of the nonsense, okay? They didn't want woke. They didn't want all this other stuff. I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to say what it is. But they were tired of it, and they didn't want it. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to run Charlie Brown and Snoopy, and they're going to win, because who wants this again? No. So this was an opportune time, and I had my candidates on that side I would have voted for, but one wouldn't run, and the other wouldn't have been that great. So just think about this. Had this person run, I'll name her, had Candace Owens run, she would have been just old enough to be president. I think that's 35. Young, a woman of color, and what everybody wants to be, Republican. But decided that she wanted to start a family, her choice, and so that's not happening. That would have been the best bet out of all of it. But all we're doing is renaming stuff and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now, Greg, for any of you guys who follow me that are on Greg's New York Preppers channel, I really need to blow my nose, but don't want to do it here on camera. He said this. There's some of what's his name is doing that he likes, but a lot of it he doesn't. And this military stuff is really kind of backwards. You know what I mean? And so he posted an audio of Reagan talking about Poland. Have you ever heard this guy do that kind of stuff? No. He can't write scripts like Reagan. He can't make jokes like Reagan. He can't. No. So 80,000 jobs from Veterans Affairs are going to be cut. I just came across the thing. That's me. I'm a veteran. So veterans benefits are going to go. So what Craig said, which I've told other people, in 1929, there were tariffs thrown out. What happened in that year? Stock market crash. Now, I can see on my phone what the numbers are, and I look at them, and if it's what it is by around 11, then I figure that's where it's going to go. Now, right now, it's really volatile. It's gone up 200 points, and then it drops down to 10, and up 200, and that's nothing. That's a nothing gain because it's lost almost 1,500 to 2,000 points over this whole couple weeks. So that's not a gain. So this is what I'm going to tell you. 3 views, no views, 1 view. And again, for any of you guys that follow me, you'll know that I never name my videos anything that catches an eye. I don't. It is to keep me under the wire, okay? That's why I do it. And if you whatever, that's cool. And again, if I get 1 view, that's fine. If I get 20 views, that's fine. I don't care. I did get a few thousand views on a F-35 that flew over one time, but that was the only one. But anyway, here's a scenario that they talked about. Supposedly this wild conspiracy theory, right? Yet could very well happen. So the market's dipping up and down and dipping up and down and dipping up and down, and here comes a Friday. Now, either way, whether it dips big or stays level, what are you going to do on a weekend? You can't trade stock. You don't know what's going to happen. Monday comes along, and guess what? You can't access your bank. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Banks are already shutting down. Like there's a branch in my old town that closed, and it was the only one. So if you bank with them, you're going to have to bank outside the city and do it all online unless you're going to go physically put something in it because it's not there. But anyway, you're going to wake up and all that's going to happen. Now, here's something else that can happen. Now, I'm not big on this. I don't follow it enough to know how much, but supposedly Canada gives us a little bit of oil. Well, if we're going to tariff them, they're not going to give us oil. And if they do, it's going to be so much we can't afford to get it. Or we're going to make it all here. You show me how. Drill, baby, drill. Well, no. And if they ever try to drill off the Monterey Bay, which is a sanctuary, but is full of oil, protesters are going to be coming out in droves. So, I don't know about that. Then over there on the East Coast, that part of Canada has some kind of control over the little bit of power that goes into the parts of New York. All they got to do is cut it. Think about the people that will be affected by that, especially if the backup generators don't work. You got people in hospitals that depend on the power to keep themselves alive. You ever see New York in a blackout? That's going to be crazy. But, oh no, it's all good. It's all gravy. It's the best thing we've ever seen. That whole thing last night was the complete biggest bore fest I ever watched. And I'm going to tell you this. If you know who, Mr. Electric, is supposed to be only an advisor, what the heck was he doing there? You know what he was doing there? He was wearing a suit because a lot of people complained he wasn't wearing one. That was the whole dumb thing. It was to show him, oh, look, he's got a suit on. That's all it was about. See, it's what they call analytical and or critical thinking. Not just what you see and you take it in and, oh, that's it. But that's why I'm saying it takes an open mind to look at it all and go, hey, wait a minute, this over here isn't working. Or, hey, over here, this isn't working. But no, I just told you I'm going to come to your house and personally give every American a golden egg. And you keep waiting for that golden egg to come, but it doesn't come. Why? Because there's billions of us and it can't do it. If I get a $5,000 check, I'll be very amazed. I should be worried because I'm a Social Security recipient. I'm retired. I'm old. If I could work, I can probably only hold a couple days a week job because I got a lot of things that have happened to me over the last few years, and I'm not really capable to work a full 40-hour week like I did when I was 20. So I depend on that. Well, if you cut me, what am I going to do? I got medicine I have to take. If I can't get it, how am I going to take it? What's it going to do? End up killing me because I can't take it? See, there's a lot of differences as I'm putting out here, and the people that really think it's all good either have money or are buying all of the, what they call pablum or Kool-Aid. Think about this scenario. I'm going to throw this out there. So you have billions of dollars, right? And the stock market starts to take a major dip. Meaning now those stocks are relatively cheap to buy. I'm not going to say no more. See what I'm saying? So I got all this money. Let's say Let's give us a good stock. I want to make sure it's something that's we know might come back. So, okay, we're talking drill, baby, drill, right? So let's go into maybe, let's say it's Shell. Maybe Shell isn't doing so good, but we'll use Shell as our bet, okay? So it dips. It's really low, man. Oh, shoot, I can afford to buy that Shell. And then I buy it. Then all of a sudden, the stock goes. Now I have all this stock that I just paid a little bit of money for, but now it's worth a heck of a lot more. Wow. Analytical and or critical thinking. You see what I mean? And there's been a lot of stories about insider trading that involved a lot of people. But I'm not going to name any of them, and I won't name any of them. That's the one way I keep myself kind of under the wire. I don't name them. You know, I just kind of give you a scenario and then you guess it. But, you see what I mean? Swoop in, buy a stock that's low, all of a sudden it goes back up, and now you're rich. Think about shows like the Shark Tank or whatever it is. Well, these guys bought low, and now it's high. You see what I mean? Buy low, sell high. So there's that. I might have to get out of here in a minute, but anyway, I just wanted to come on here and go, look, you got to use your mind. Use what you have, not what these boxes tell you. Again, there was a lot of disagreement I had with yesterday as far as the one side because they wouldn't stand for anything, not kids, not a cancer person, not this or that who had something happen to them. I can't remember what happened to the one couple of girls. Something happened to them, and you could see she had little white patches on her because something happened to her. They didn't even stand for that. Now, that I was against. You know, these people are just there. Are they using them to make it look good? Who knows? But either way, that's what I mean when you go on whatever. You at least show respect to a child. You know what I mean? Not sit and go like that. No, you show respect to the kid. Maybe you don't respect the rest of it. And this is how I'm going to end my video. Now, this is how I work me, okay? If it comes to a point like this one, where I don't want this, but I don't want this, well, then you're not getting this. And this time, that was it. Couldn't do it. Didn't want more of this, but didn't want this either. So this is what I'm going to tell you. And I'm not saying this in any, for whatever side. I'm just going to give it to you like this. If you believe that voting is legit, which I kind of don't, you better make sure that in a year and I don't know how many more months, year and 9 months, you go out and vote. If you think it counts, and vote good. Change the House, change the Senate, make it towards more balanced. Because the thing is, even if it was this side and it was all that side, which it kind of was, well, then look what happened. They were controlling the whole thing because they were all in charge. It should never be that way. It should never be a 100% this way or this way. It should be kind of 50-50. Maybe it leans a little more to one way, but not strong this way or strong this way. It's going to be what it is. See? I'm going to end this video in about a minute or two because I got things I got to go do. But stop and think about what's actually happening. And don't side with it just because it sounds good. Make your own mind up. Don't, this person is so good. Where? Show it to me. Where's all the gains? There aren't any. And I want to say this. This is what Greg said. So I'm going to reiterate what Greg said. How can you side with, and this is for Christians too, how can you side with Israel, the Holy Land, but then all of a sudden You're over here with this other country that started the whole Ukraine war. Why are you here going here? The switcheroo. And I'm going to end it with this too. Now, will this happen like this? Who knows? But the way it's put out, that's what people think. The guy wants to go into there and make the whole Gaza Strip this resort. What you going to do? Put in gambling machines in Jesus' land? But everybody thinks it's great. Oh, yeah. No, it's not going to be. And I'm going to end it. Oh, I keep saying I'm going to end it, but I will end it with this. Anyone can say they're a Christian and not be one. It would be like me telling you that I'm this crackerjack electrician, and yeah, I've done this and I've done that, but I don't know one bit about it. And you hire me, and then when I come into your house to do it, I can't because I don't know what I'm doing. It's the same thing. It's the same damn thing. But it's going to have to happen for people to grasp it. You know what I mean? Now, like I said this in an earlier video, and I'm trying to figure out how to put it in the right way. What do you think would happen to a dog if a dog was chained up, like say it's a big, massive dog, right? And you go there and you're beating the dog every day. And then one day, you just say, well, I'm going to let this dog loose. And you go up to the dog, but now the dog knows he's free. Is that dog going to sit there and let you whack him? No, he's probably going to defend himself. So that's what's probably going to happen. Remember what I talked about. Controlled chaos. You got to make a certain side kind of mad. To a point where maybe the protests that they decide become less than peaceful. Again, I like to throw certain things in, but people think they're not true. But and I said again, what did John Teeter say? Real, fake, whatever. What does the story say? Why did the CW start? Faulty politics. See, the thing that you're involving is kind of funny because a lot of that stuff comes from other countries besides there. Some comes from within the country. You see what I mean? But you're targeting a group who has people up here that are maybe legal, but they sure do side with their people. Of course they do. I'll leave it at that. You're going to cut farmers, you're going to cut this, you're going to cut this, you're going to cut this. I'll leave it up to you to decide. Excuse me. Remember, I'm just some dummy who puts out my thoughts on YouTube. Peace. I'll be seeing you.